The acceptance letter from Northwood State University came with a list of recommendations. Right at the top of that list was one item: a personal laptop. I was just about to ask my parents for a MacBook when a few lines of text suddenly flickered into existence, floating right in front of my eyes. Here we go. This is where the side character, Leo, begins his downfall. It went on. He demands a $1,500 laptop, and everything spirals from there. His parents are clueless. They think getting into college is the finish line. They have no idea he's about to burn through thousands on fraternity parties and spring break trips in a single year. Forget the money, he starts failing his classes. He becomes obsessed with keeping up appearances. And whenever he doesn't get what he wants, he throws tantrums, screaming that his parents never deserved to have children. My chest tightened as the words kept appearing. After graduation, in order to follow the female lead to the same city, he demands they pay over $30,000 for a useless one-year master's program overseas. When his parents refuse, he goes on a hunger strike, threatens suicide, and ends up actually getting himself killed. His obsession is terminal. The side character. Were they talking about me? A shiver ran down my spine as I felt my parents' expectant gazes on me. The words I'd been about to say twisted into something else entirely. "I need a notebook for taking notes," I said. My mom's jaw tightened, her expression firm. "A laptop, right? Okay. I know all college students need one. I'll make sure you get it." My dad nodded immediately. "Whatever the other kids have, you'll have too. I'll work overtime if I need to. Don't worry." I chose my words carefully. No. I mean a regular $5 spiral notebook. For writing lecture notes. They both stared at me like I'd lost my mind. Honestly, before those floating comments appeared, I'd been buzzing with excitement. But after reading that horrifying script of my future, every trace of that excitement drained away, replaced by a cold, creeping dread. The pop-up text claimed that my entire world was nothing more than a cheesy romance novel. The female lead was my next-door neighbor and childhood friend, Chloe Martin. The male lead was the campus heartthrob in our program, Ethan Cole. And in order to make Ethan look suave, talented, and sophisticated, the story needed me, a foil. A stupid, illogical antagonist. The story was only just beginning. It started with me scoring way higher on my SATs than anyone expected. I got into Northwood State, the same school and major as Chloe and Ethan. My parents had promised that if I got into a good college, I could ask for anything. I'd always been jealous of Chloe's sleek MacBook. I'd already decided I was going to ask for the same one. But my dad is a city bus driver. My mom stocks shelves at a supermarket. They work themselves to the bone. And after bills and my tuition, there's barely anything left. Buying their college-bound son a $1,500 laptop would be a massive stretch for them. It wasn't that I couldn't do the math. I'd just been blinded by vanity. If that laptop was the first step toward my tragic ending, then there was no way in hell I was going to ask for it. A budget Chromebook for a few $100s would work just fine. Hell, I'd use pen and paper if that meant I didn't have to become the story's pathetic, villainous side piece. My parents were both amused and confused when they heard that all I wanted was a spiral notebook. "Honey, what's gotten into you?" my mom asked. "You can buy a notebook at any corner store." "Exactly," my dad added. "Just tell us what kind of laptop you want. Don't worry about the price. Getting into college is a huge achievement. We don't want you feeling left out or looked down on by your classmates." I clenched my fist like I was in some cheesy motivational poster. "I just want a regular notebook. I need to focus on studying. A laptop will only distract me with video games." The truth was I sucked at games. My reflexes were slow. I still typed using the hunt and peck method. Chloe, who lived next door, used to laugh at how clumsy I was on a keyboard. Because of that, I'd convinced myself she liked me. I'd been secretly crushing on her for years, acting like her personal doormat. According to the floating comments, once we got to college, Chloe and Ethan would hit it off instantly. Their passionate, dramatic, on-again, off-again romance would have readers swooning. And I, the toxic, clueless third wheel, was nothing more than a pawn in their game. Whenever Chloe and Ethan fought, she would deliberately get close to me just to make Ethan jealous. And I, like an idiot, would believe her act. I'd go out of my way to antagonize Ethan, causing him all kinds of trouble. In the end, Chloe would finally drop the bombshell. She'd tell me she'd only ever loved Ethan and that I should stop being delusional and disappear. The humiliation would crush me. I'd completely abandon my studies. After college, Chloe and Ethan would both move on to prestigious graduate schools overseas. I, having failed half my classes, wouldn't even earn a diploma. Unable to find a real job, I'd end up delivering food for DoorDash. And just when I thought it couldn't possibly get any worse, my tragic fate as the side character still wasn't finished. Desperate to follow Chloe, I would eventually start throwing tantrums, demanding that my parents pay for a ridiculous $30,000 cash grab master's program abroad. When they told me they simply couldn't afford it, I refused to accept reality. I threatened suicide again and again, trying to manipulate them into giving in. And one day, I'd accidentally slip and fall from a balcony, ending my pathetic life once and for all.
Me?
Did this author seriously have such a deep grudge against me? Seeing how adamant I was about not wanting an expensive gift, my parents looked both proud and heartbroken. That night, I overheard them talking quietly in their bedroom. "He knows we don't have much money," my mom said softly. "He's being so considerate." "Don't worry," my dad replied. "I'll work harder. I'll take extra shifts and make more money for our boy." My mom sighed. "Okay, we'll do it together." I tiptoed back to my room, a new resolve hardening inside my chest. I have to protect my life. I refuse to become some toxic, brainless side character written solely for humiliation and death. For the rest of the summer, I spent my days buried in YouTube videos and Coursera courses, getting a head start on my major. Chloe called a few times, asking me to hang out, but every time I clenched my teeth and turned her down. The floating comments were merciless. "What's wrong with the side character? The female lead invites him out, and he ignores her? Normally, he'd come running like a puppy. This is totally out of character. He's still got that childhood friend confidence. He doesn't feel threatened yet. Just wait until the male lead shows up. Then he'll start competing." But he didn't even ask for the expensive laptop. It feels like something's changed. A few days later, my mom suddenly said, "Leo, I was talking to Chloe's mom. She said everyone in college joins clubs and tries to learn a new skill. She signed Chloe up for a public speaking workshop. Maybe you should go too." The comments flared up instantly. "Whoa, that workshop isn't cheap. It's got to cost at least $1,000. This is where he starts obsessing over talents. Whatever the female lead likes about the male lead, he tries to copy. He even learns to knit tote bags. Later, he completely drains his family's savings. Honestly, the side character's parents are part of the problem. They can't afford it, so why do they stretch themselves thin?"
Exactly.
Spoiling your kid like this just ruins him. People without higher education just don't understand. Seeing them attack my parents made my chest tighten with anger. My parents love me. They love me unconditionally. They haven't done anything wrong. All they want is to give me the best they possibly can. If anyone is at fault, it's me. I shook my head firmly. "I'm not going." My mom hesitated. "There are so many free resources online. Tons of courses that don't cost anything. I can teach myself." She looked uncertain. "Are you sure?" "Yes, Mom," I said earnestly. "Everyone wants some flashy talent to show off or impress someone. I don't need that. I just need to focus in class. If I don't work hard and learn how to make a living, 100 talents won't help me." My words were so firm that my mom was taken aback. "Okay then," she said gently. "I was just worried you'd feel left out since Chloe is going. But if you're sure, we'll forget it." I knew it. She was just trying to protect my feelings. She must have noticed my petty, competitive streak. A wave of sadness washed over me, reinforcing my decision to focus entirely on my studies. The comments went completely haywire. Did the side character really just say that? Has he become self-aware? Actually, the female lead just wanted him there to fetch coffee and run errands. Now she'll have to buy her own bagels. He's probably just putting on a show. It's because his family is poor. I bet he really wants to go. Dude, shut up. You're just a troll. So in Chloe's eyes, I really was nothing more than a convenient servant she could order around. What a fool I'd been. Taking a deep breath, I shoved the flicker of pain down in my chest, ignored the useless chatter, and went back to my books. That night, I got a text from Chloe. Did you go into hiding or something? You've been really quiet. My heart skipped a beat. Chloe and I had been neighbors for years. She was smart, beautiful, and had a voice that could melt butter. Of course, I had a crush on her. Maybe I really was a fool, always chasing after her no matter how little she cared. It was bad enough that she looked down on me, but having my parents insulted because of it was unbearable. Thank God for those magical pop-up comments. They were the slap in the face I desperately needed. After hesitating for a moment, I put my phone down and pretended I'd never seen the message. A few days later, Chloe's mom came over with some homemade lasagna for my mom, and she brought Chloe with her. Chloe walked straight into my room like she owned the place and tapped me on the head. "What's wrong with you lately?" she asked. "Why are you ignoring everyone?" I looked at her perfectly crafted face, fought the instinct to please her, and said flatly, "I'm not." She frowned, tapping her chin. "You're not? Are you on some new medication or something?" For a split second, I wavered. Was I really going to throw away a friendship I'd held onto for so long because of some floating text? Then I remembered the comments mocking my parents, and my resolve hardened. "I'm busy studying." "Great," Chloe said immediately. "Then come to the public speaking workshop with me. The instructor is amazing. He can totally fix your pronunciation and help you project your voice." She launched into a full-blown sales pitch. When she finally finished, I spoke quietly but clearly. "Chloe, my family isn't rich. We can't afford workshops like that. You should just go by yourself." Chloe's face drained of color, then flushed red. "Leo Kelly, you don't have to say it like that." "It's the truth," I replied softly. With that, I walked back into the living room, picked up a book, and hid my face behind it. Chloe stood there, speechless for a moment, before finally snapping, "Fine. I don't know what's gotten into you. Text me when you're back to normal." After she left, I muttered under my breath, "You're the one with the problem. Your whole family has a problem." Move-in day came quickly. The night before, Chloe texted me, "Same time tomorrow. Don't forget my bagel." For 3 years of high school, I'd woken up 20 minutes early every single day just to buy Chloe her favorite everything bagel with cream cheese. Then we'd walk to school together. Her mom, feeling guilty, would often send leftovers over to our house. Every time, I'd blush and say, "It's no problem, Mrs. Martin. I have to get breakfast anyway. It's on the way." The truth was, I hated bagels. I did it all for Chloe. Now that I decided to draw a line in the sand, I could finally reclaim those 20 minutes. When I arrived at our first class the next morning, Chloe wasn't there. But my eyes immediately landed on the male lead, Ethan Cole. He really was handsome. Tall, clear-skinned, with an effortless coolness. A plain white t-shirt and black jeans that made me look sloppy somehow looked like high fashion on him.
Damn.
The difference was painfully obvious. I tore my gaze away, chanting in my head, "Not my business. Not my business. Not my business." Just then, Chloe breezed into the classroom. Her eyes met Ethan's, and she paused for a fraction of a second. The comments erupted instantly. "This is it, the first meeting of the male and female leads. They're finally in the same class. Love at first sight. He's so handsome. She's so beautiful. What a perfect couple." Actually, they noticed each other on campus earlier and were already interested. Wow, this is such a classic scene. Sure enough, as Chloe passed Ethan's desk, she accidentally knocked his textbook onto the floor. They started talking. I lowered my head, pretending not to notice. My roommate, who knew Chloe and I were from the same town, nudged me and whispered, "Looks like Chloe and the campus heartthrob are hitting it off." You jealous? I answered calmly. Don't start rumors. Chloe and I are just acquaintances. He stared at me in shock. You're not going to pursue her anymore? I shrugged. Nope. I didn't bother explaining and went back to my textbook. Suddenly, a shadow fell across my desk. Chloe was standing there, her face cold and irritated. Why weren't you waiting for me outside the women's dorm? And where's my bagel? At the word bagel, my roommate shot me a teasing look, like he was saying, just acquaintances, huh? And you still buy her breakfast? I rolled my eyes and said plainly, I didn't get you one. From now on, you can buy your own. Chloe's expression shifted instantly. What is your problem? You were weird all summer, and now you're doubling down. Is this ever going to end? Doubling down? All I wanted was to stop being her servant and stay out of her and Ethan's love story. Was that really so wrong? Without looking up, I said, I'm not buying you breakfast anymore. We're in college now. I need to focus on my studies. Chloe stomped her foot in frustration.
Fine. Fine.
Then we're not friends anymore. Don't come crying to me when you regret this. She'd used that line on me plenty of times before. And every time, I'd panicked and begged her to forgive me. This time, sadness flickered in my eyes, but my voice stayed low and steady. Fine by me. Who's afraid of who? And just like that, Chloe and I were done. It hurt a little, but mostly I felt relief. To avoid Chloe and Ethan as much as possible, I stuck to a small circle of friends and spent the rest of my time studying. The coursework was intense, and I had no intention of ending up jobless like the comments predicted. After a week of burying myself in books, I was doing well. The professor even made me a course representative. Meanwhile, Chloe and Ethan were moving fast, like a rocket taking off. They always sat together in class and walked shoulder to shoulder to the dining hall. They were both famous in our department, the campus beauty and the heartthrob. Rumors spread quickly about how they were dating and how perfect they were for each other. A few months ago, that would have shattered me. Now, with how demanding my classes were, I didn't even have the energy to care. My roommate asked, his voice dripping with gossip, You really gave up on Chloe? He said it so dramatically, you'd think I'd given up on life itself. It was like simp was written across my forehead. I pressed my lips together. We're just classmates. There's nothing to give up. And I meant it. Just then, I heard a sharp scoff behind me. It was Chloe. She stood there glaring at me, her expression dark and stormy. She had clearly overheard what I'd said. I buried my face deeper into my book, pretending I hadn't noticed her at all. By that afternoon, a new rumor was already spreading across campus. Chloe had confessed her feelings to Ethan on the campus green, and he'd happily accepted. The comments immediately started rolling in again. The main characters are together already. This feels kind of boring. Yeah, it's so normal. There's no drama, no tension. Honestly, doesn't the male lead feel kind of fake? He acts nice, but he's totally clueless and doesn't even know how to treat a girl properly.
Yep.
Boring. So boring. If this keeps up, I'm dropping the story. I stared at the floating comments, completely speechless. So, without me playing the villain, without me stirring up trouble, their love story wasn't interesting anymore? Why the hell should I sacrifice my future just to entertain them? We were all adults now, in college. They could date whoever they wanted. But my family didn't have money. For people like me, the cost of failure was far higher. I couldn't afford distractions. If I let myself slack off and didn't study, I knew I'd regret it for the rest of my life. Maybe it was the plot interfering again. The very next day, our academic advisor suddenly appointed 2 additional course representatives and lumped me, Ethan, and Chloe together. All 3 of us were summoned to his office. The comments went wild. Now, this is more like it. The classic scene is coming. The main couple has a small misunderstanding. To make the male lead jealous, the female lead accidentally touches the side character's hand and asks him for help. The side character's heart flutters. Later, the female lead walks in the rain, gets sick, and collapses. The male lead regrets everything, holds her tight, and confesses his true feelings. And the side character gets publicly humiliated by the male lead.
Me?
What kind of monster wrote this story? I honestly wanted to track them down and fight them. Sure enough, once we were inside the advisor's office, Chloe suddenly turned toward me. She reached out, her voice soft and pleading. Leo, that recruitment poster, how do I design it? Her hand was about to touch mine. I panicked. I grabbed the nearest object on the desk, a pair of scissors, and thrust it forward without thinking. The tip jabbed into the back of Chloe's hand, drawing a bead of blood.
Ow.
Chloe cried out. What are you doing? Why would you do that? I froze, staring at what I'd just done. Ethan reacted instantly. He scooped Chloe up in a full princess carry and rushed her straight to campus health services. Feeling a stab of guilt, I mumbled, sorry about that. I'll just do the poster myself. Technically, it was self-defense. Nestled in Ethan's arms, Chloe shot me 2 venomous glares. I had definitely crossed a line with her. Thoroughly. Ethan didn't say a word to me. Instead, he seemed to enjoy the attention, basking in the admiring looks from nearby students as he played the hero. At lunch, he even approached me with a friendly smile. Want to grab a bite together? Honestly, I had nothing against him. But the comments kept flashing images of how I'd supposedly frame him later, deflating his basketball, putting laxatives in his food, throwing away his homework. Seriously, what kind of childish idiot would do that? To be safe, I should keep my distance. No thanks, I said. I'm meeting someone else. Ethan looked a little awkward, but smiled it off.
All right.
Maybe next time. As soon as he walked away, the comments started scrolling again. The side character is just jealous.
Yep.
He was rough with the female lead because he's playing hard to get. Our male lead is so sweet and handsome. The side character is just insecure. Later, he'll team up with Roxy Vance to frame both leads. Playing hard to get? What kind of garbage take was that? And who the hell was Roxy Vance? I was so done. Was it impossible for the story to move forward without dragging me into it? After classes, I headed back to my dorm and spotted Chloe standing near the entrance. Her arms were crossed, and she was watching me with a dark, unreadable expression. She'd been coming around the men's dorms a lot lately, usually late at night, so we rarely ran into each other. But today, it was obvious. She was waiting for me. I frowned and tried to walk past her, pretending she wasn't there. Chloe stuck out her arm, blocking my path. Can we talk? I stopped. About what? She took a deep breath, her eyes swirling with emotion. After a long pause, she finally spoke. Leo, what is wrong with you? She stared straight at me. Hurting me is one thing. But why are you ignoring Ethan? Are you really that jealous of him?
Me?
My mouth fell open. I was stunned into silence. This girl was actually insane. Chloe grabbed my elbow, her voice low and intense. Yes, I'm dating Ethan. I wasn't planning to get with him so soon, but it was you. You're the one who pushed me to him. I let out a long, exhausted sigh. Chloe, if you're sick, go see a doctor. Don't let it affect your grades. But she was dead serious. Leo, stop avoiding this. I've known how you felt about me for a long time. And honestly, I did consider you. Seeing my shocked expression, she adopted a calm, almost patronizing tone. If it weren't for Ethan, I might have said yes to you. But you're the one who acted out. You pushed me away. And now it's too late for regrets. The floating comments appeared again. The female lead is just warning the side character not to be delusional anymore. She doesn't want him holding a grudge against the male lead. She's the best girlfriend ever. Are you serious? This feels like a terrible move. It's only going to create more animosity for the male lead.
Exactly.
If she hadn't said anything, the side character might have actually moved on. This just makes it harder for him to let go. I rubbed my temples, completely at a loss for words. Chloe, I said flatly, with an imagination like that, you should be making TikToks. She had already written, directed, and starred in an entire soap opera inside her own head. Honestly, she could probably produce a whole series. Seeing the disdain on my face, Chloe's temper flared. What's that supposed to mean? Say it to my face. Looking at her narcissistic, self-important expression, The very last remnants of my crush finally withered away. This was the person I'd liked for 3 years. I must have been blind. I pushed her hand away and said calmly, word for word, think whatever you want. Like whoever you want. It has nothing to do with me. The only thing I'm focused on is my studies. That's it. Chloe's voice turned icy.
Fine.
Be stubborn. Let's see how long you can keep it up. With that, she spun on her heel and dramatically walked away. I opened my mouth, 100 retorts crowding my tongue, but all that came out was a single word. Idiot. The next 2 months were surprisingly peaceful. Midterm grades came out quickly. Thank God, because I'd been studying relentlessly all semester, my grades were solid. I'd barely scraped my way into college before, but now I was one of the top students in my program. It felt like a quantum leap. Plenty of other students were working hard too. It was just that a few had completely checked out, which made the rest of us look like overachievers. Hard work really does pay off. Ethan and Chloe's grades, however, weren't nearly as impressive as I'd imagined. They were barely passing. When Chloe heard I was on track for a scholarship, she shot me several surprised looks. I ignored them. I was in a great mood. When I went home for winter break, my mom beamed at me. My baby is so smart. Keep up the good work. Then she casually asked about Chloe's grades. When she heard Chloe was barely passing, my mom looked genuinely shocked. But she was such a good student in high school. What happened in college? I shook my head. I don't know. But I knew exactly what had happened. After my mom went into the kitchen to cook, I muttered under my breath, that's what happens when you let yourself go and make romance your top priority. People always say college is the time for love, for couples to study together and plan a better future. Chloe and Ethan were clearly focused only on the romance part.
There was zero future planning involved.
When the new semester began, Chloe looked awful. Ethan tried talking to her a few times, but she treated him like he didn't exist. After class one day, Chloe cornered me by the water fountains in the dorm lounge. What did you say to my mom? She demanded. How does she know about me and Ethan? Leo Keller, I never thought you'd stoop so low. I stared at her, stunned. You don't have the guts to sabotage us to our faces, she continued, so you do it behind our backs. Did my mom overhear something over break and tell Chloe's mom? But I'd never even mentioned Ethan's name. And parents didn't usually interfere in their kids' college relationships. Why was she so furious? After a moment, the most likely explanation hit me. Chloe's grades had slipped badly. Her mom probably asked her roommate about it, and found out that Chloe and Ethan had already rented an apartment off campus together. The comments were scrolling frantically. The side character finally makes his move. I knew he couldn't hold back forever. Everything before this was just him biding his time. This guy is so manipulative. Little does he know, the more obstacles the main couple faces, the stronger their love becomes. It'll ignite their passion. Ignite their passion? I thought this was a cheesy romance, not an action anime. I said impatiently, Chloe, why are you asking me how your mom found out? Go ask your mom. And please stop bringing your problems to me. Then I added clearly, if I wasn't clear before, I'll say it again. I don't like you. I want nothing to do with you.
Got it?
Chloe lifted her chin defiantly. You think you can resist me? A tight pressure formed in my chest. This girl was going to give me an ulcer. If I didn't genuinely love my major, I would have already applied to transfer departments just to get away from her. She seemed completely convinced I'd snitched on her and kept giving me these intense, meaningful looks. Then Ethan suddenly moved back into the men's dorm. A comment popped up. Is the female lead kind of a masochist? When the side character ignored her, she looked disappointed. Now that she thinks he still likes her, she's suddenly fired up again. You don't get it. He's her childhood friend. Of course there are feelings, but he can't compare to the male lead. A campus beauty like her has plenty of options. In the end, she'll always choose the male lead. I genuinely didn't understand who wrote these comments. Were they middle schoolers? They were childish, but Chloe was even worse. To save Ethan from eating processed cafeteria food, She cooked meals every day in their rented apartment and brought them to campus. But she never gave the food to Ethan directly. Instead, she kept asking me to deliver it to his dorm room. I had no idea what game she was playing. She had a phone. She could have just texted him. At noon, when Chloe asked me for the third time to take a food container up to Ethan's room, I finally snapped. I took the food and walked straight to our academic advisor's office. The advisor looked up in surprise. "Oh, is that for me?" Chloe's eyes went wide. "What are you doing?" I said calmly. "Professor, this is a meal Chloe made in her off-campus apartment. She specifically asked me to deliver it to Ethan." The advisor, who was a sharp, perceptive man, immediately picked up on the implications. He called Ethan into his office as well. In the end, Ethan confessed everything, admitting that he and Chloe were renting an apartment together and that their relationship had already become physical. The professor's face darkened as he stared at them both. "You're only freshmen," he snapped. "Do you have any sense of responsibility at all?" He ordered both of them to call their parents immediately. As I was leaving the office, I caught a glimpse of Ethan. His face was beet red, while Chloe looked completely indignant, as if she were the one being wronged. That should keep them out of trouble for a while, I thought. A few days later, Chloe's and Ethan's parents were summoned to campus. I heard that Ethan's mother was a real nightmare, and she lived up to the reputation. The moment she stormed into the office, she slapped Ethan hard across the face, without saying a word. Then she turned on Chloe and launched into a vicious tirade, blaming her for everything. Cooking meals every day, playing the obedient little daughter-in-law, trying to marry into our family, she sneered. "Are you dreaming?" Even Chloe's mother, normally mild-mannered and soft-spoken, finally lost her patience. "It was clearly your son who took advantage of my daughter," she shot back. Ethan's mom curled her lip. "Like mother, like daughter. I should have known. And this is a university now? They'll let any kind of riffraff in these days." The advisor tried to step in. "Mrs. Cole, please watch your language." This situation, before he could finish, Ethan's mom exploded. "Don't you dare talk to me. I haven't even started on you yet. Students renting apartments off campus. This is a failure of your management." The advisor was completely speechless. The three women nearly came to blows, all of them criticizing Ethan's mother for being unhinged and controlling. Watching the scene unfold, I felt an unexpected sense of satisfaction. Weren't the comments complaining that the plot was too boring? Well, here was their drama. As I walked out of the office building, the fresh air felt unbelievably sweet. On the way back to my dorm, I noticed a girl on a bright yellow rental bike weaving back and forth right in front of me. She was wearing a crop top that showed off her entire midriff, and her hair was a wild cascade of red curls. She was impossible to miss. I'd seen plenty of girls dressed like that on campus, but the way she was deliberately circling me was definitely not normal. Finally, I sighed and asked, "Can I help you?" The girl flicked her hair and pointed at herself. "Do you know who I am?" Instead of introducing herself, she was asking whether I knew her. Why was I surrounded by so many strange people? She looked embarrassed for a brief moment, then said, "My name is Roxy Vance."
Oh.
So this was Roxy Vance. The story's female side character had finally appeared. I remember the comments mentioning that besides me, the male side character, there was also a female one. Just like the standard sidekick in countless stories, Roxy was described as naive, wealthy, and beautiful, with one fatal flaw: she hated studying. She was in the same club as Ethan. After getting to know him, she developed a massive crush on him. When Ethan and Chloe got together, Roxy was devastated. In the original story, she briefly teamed up with me to try to break them apart. But our efforts were completely useless and only ended up pushing the main couple even closer together. In the end, Roxy's fate wasn't much better than mine. According to the comments, after the male and female leads went abroad to live happily ever after, Roxy also went to the U.S. for a pointless master's degree. She got caught in the crossfire of a random street conflict and was tragically shot and killed. Damn rich people. Even our tragic endings weren't on the same level. Hers sounded far more dramatic than mine. What annoyed me even more was that the comments about me were always negative, while the comments about Roxy were overflowing with praise. The devoted female side character who loves and loses is always the coolest. If I were the male lead, I'd just take them both. What's the big deal? The female side character is way more interesting, isn't she? Beautiful, innocent, fun, and rich. Seeing those shallow, obsessed comments, my tone came out sharper than I intended. So, I asked, "What do you want?" Roxy didn't seem bothered at all. She answered casually, "I asked around about you. You like Chloe, right? And you're the one who told the professor about them renting an apartment." "No," I said immediately. "Don't spread rumors. That's not what happened." Roxy stepped closer, her voice confident. "Don't deny it. I did my research. You like Chloe. I like Ethan. Our goal is the same." She smiled. "Break them up. So, what do you say, want to team up?" As she spoke, the comments started updating again. "The male lead is so lucky. 2 beautiful girls fighting over him. Too bad the male side character is all talk." In the next chapter, he and the female side character try to cause trouble but accidentally lock the main couple in the yoga studio, where they end up practicing advanced poses all night long. OMG, yes, that scene was so intense. The female lead could barely walk the next day. A professor finds them the following morning. I can't wait. I was completely dumbfounded. What kind of ancient, trope-ridden teen drama was this? This wasn't some cheesy show from the early 2000s. Everyone has a phone now. Were both of their phones supposed to die at the same time? And even if 2 college students really did something like that, it wouldn't exactly be a huge scandal anyway. I sighed and said to Roxy, "Have you ever heard the saying, 'You can win the war without ever firing a shot'?" Roxy tilted her head. "What war? What shot? You play Call of Duty too?" I dropped my head in despair. After a moment, I tried again. "What I mean is, even if we do nothing, I have a way to help you and Ethan back." I looked at her. "Do you believe me?" Roxy's interest was immediately piqued. "Really?"
How?
she asked eagerly. Tell me. Tell me." She leaned in, excitement sparkling in her eyes, which somehow made them look even bigger. Honestly, I thought she was prettier than Chloe. She had this innocent, lively charm that was hard to ignore. I spoke slowly and deliberately. "Let me ask you something. In what way do you think you're inferior to Chloe?" Roxy scratched her head. "I don't know. I really don't think she has anything that I don't. I mean, on paper, I beat her in every category." I sighed inwardly. "Actually, there's only one thing Chloe has over you, her grades. If you studied seriously and stopped failing so many classes, don't you think Ethan would be more likely to give you a chance?" Roxy tilted her head, looking like a confused little squirrel. "That kind of makes sense. But we're in college. Who actually studies?" I spoke like a wise, world-weary mentor. "You'll need knowledge to take over your family's business one day, won't you? Life is precious, but love is priceless. Isn't fighting for both your career and your love worth the effort?" I continued calmly. "The more you chase after Ethan, the less he'll respect you. But if you stop chasing him and instead work quietly in the background, improving yourself little by little, and then reappear as this capable, successful person, he'll naturally see you differently." My voice dropped, laced with temptation. "And if you confess then, he might actually say yes." Roxy's eyes lit up with sudden understanding. "Oh my God, I get it. That's the strategy you're using right now, isn't it?" "What should I do?" she asked eagerly. She really wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. I replied quietly, "I'm not interested in Chloe. And anyway, what you do is your own choice. I just think improving yourself is better than wasting time trying to stir up trouble for them." Roxy thought about it for a long moment. Then she nodded. "You're right.
Okay.
I'll come find you when I have time to study. You've gotten scholarships, right? You can tutor me." "No problem." With that, she hopped back on her bike and disappeared down the path.
Me?
Tutor her? Why on earth would I agree to that? That evening, I received a friend request from Roxy. I hesitated for a second, then accepted it. Her situation wasn't great either. I felt a strange sense of kinship with her. Maybe I could help her avoid the tragic fate described in the comments. If she graduated with a legitimate degree, her family probably wouldn't send her to the U.S., and she might avoid that whole getting shot in a random street conflict ending altogether. Over the following days, I started spending a lot of time with Roxy. As she put it, while my grades weren't the absolute best in the year, I was more than qualified to tutor her. So, every day after my own classes, I spent an hour tutoring Roxy. She insisted on paying me $300 an hour, saying she didn't want to take advantage of me. Her sense of fairness, and her refusal to treat others like tools, was 1,000 times better than Chloe's. In just 1 month, I earned over $8,000. Meanwhile, Chloe and Ethan were removed as course representatives, so I no longer had to deal with them in the advisor's office. My world finally became quiet. My life was calm and productive, but theirs was anything but. Between Ethan's mother and countless other issues, they were constantly fighting, breaking up, and getting back together. Chloe often shot me resentful looks, and I honestly had no idea what she wanted from me. From time to time, the comments would appear again. I think the female lead is having second thoughts. Anyone would be stressed out dealing with a future mother-in-law like that. If you compare their parents, the side character's mom is way kinder and more reasonable. She and the female lead's mom get along well too. Their family life would be so much more harmonious. They say the childhood friend never wins against the new guy, but the childhood friend is the one with the real emotional foundation. Once the excitement fades, the female lead will remember how good the side character was to her. There are plenty of stories where the underdog side character makes a comeback. I agree. The side character is playing it smart. Isn't there a saying? Seeing others clearly is clever, but seeing yourself clearly is wisdom.
No.
The male lead has been controlled by his mom his whole life. He's pitiful. All he wants is someone to escape with him. The female lead can't abandon him now. The tone of the comments had completely changed. At least half of them were on my side now. I guess they'd noticed my effort and the changes I'd made. As graduation approached, I had won multiple scholarships and was on track to land a great job. I was ecstatic, filled with genuine hope for the future. Roxy's grades had also been steadily improving, which completely shocked her academic advisor. Who would have thought that this so-called airhead art student could pull off such a comeback? Roxy was overjoyed. "My dad's been so nice to me lately," she told me. "He even said that if I get my diploma, he'll let me take over the company."
Wow.
Becoming a CEO right after graduation. That was real power. I patted her on the shoulder. "Keep it up. You're almost there." Then I teased, "When you get it, how are you going to thank me?" Roxy suddenly blushed. How do you want me to thank you?" Why was she embarrassed? "A big, fat check will be just fine." To motivate her further, I added, "Oh, and I've got some good news for you." Her eyes lit up. "What is it?" "Your crush, Ethan, is about to be single again." I'd picked that up from the comments recently. Chloe and Ethan hadn't spoken in ages. They were fighting constantly. Chloe's grades had dropped to the bottom of the class, and their once passionate relationship was now collapsing into resentment. Roxy stared at me, completely dumbfounded. "Huh? What do you mean?"
Huh?
I said calmly, "Have you forgotten your original goal? Just keep working hard, get good grades, and then confess to Ethan. Your chances will be very high." Roxy looked at me strangely, her gaze so intense it made my skin crawl. After a long pause, she said quietly, "Thanks for your concern." "No problem," I replied magnanimously. "Anytime." Then I pulled out a textbook. "All right, enough chatting. Time to study." That night, Roxy took me out to dinner at a Michelin-starred restaurant. I didn't hold back. I ordered 5 servings of caviar. After dinner, she insisted on walking me back to my dorm. I kept telling her it wasn't necessary, but she was adamant. Lately, she'd been acting unusually attentive. Just then, a comment appeared in midair. "I like this side couple way more than the main one." especially since the male side character has no idea that the female side character doesn't like the male lead anymore and has fallen for him. This is the best stage of a relationship. That ambiguous moment right before they confess. Because Chloe and Ethan's relationship was falling apart, the comments had mostly turned negative or gone silent for a while. Their sudden return was blinding. Roxy likes me? Is that real? My expression must have betrayed my shock, because Roxy asked anxiously, Leo, are you okay? I shook my head numbly. I'm fine. If you're not feeling well, just tell me, Roxy said worriedly. I'll take you to a hotel.
No.
I'm not sick, I replied. Really, I'm fine. Right before I enter my dorm building, Roxy suddenly called out, Leo. Yeah. She looked shy, but her eyes were shining brightly. After graduation, there's someone I want to confess to, but it's not Ethan. Her face flushed so red it looked like it might catch fire. Before I could even process what she'd just said, she turned around and ran off. Watching her retreating figure, she looked unbelievably cheerful, even humming softly to herself. This girl, honestly. Just then, a figure stepped out from the shadows. Leo Keller, what are you doing hanging out with Roxy Vance? It was Chloe. Suspicion and confusion were written all over her face. I didn't respond and headed straight up the stairs. Chloe followed closely behind me, unwilling to drop it. You're not dating her, are you? Do you even know she's obsessed with Ethan? I turned around and saw jealousy, urgency, and anxiety flash across her face. That has nothing to do with you, I said flatly. Chloe cleared her throat and spoke seriously. Leo, stay away from her. She's just using you to get close to Ethan. She definitely has ulterior motives. That was a ridiculous thing to say. I turned to face her fully. Who Roxy likes is none of my business, and it's none of yours either. Stop meddling in other people's lives. She was on the verge of flunking out, yet she still had time to worry about this. As I tried to leave, Chloe suddenly grabbed my hand. Leo, don't go. Why won't you answer my texts? I have so much I want to tell you. I forcefully pulled my hand away. If you have something to say, say it. If not, don't waste my time. She hesitated, then said softly, Leo, I regret it. 17. Chloe looked at me deeply, her voice barely above a whisper. Leo, the truth is the person I like is you. I've had a lot of time to think. Ethan isn't right for me. We're the ones who were meant to be. She continued earnestly. I've seen how hard you've worked, how much you've changed. I know you did it all for me.
Me?
I'd heard of confident people before, but this was a whole new level of delusion. Seeing that I was speechless, Chloe pressed on. Leo, I know you were angry when I chose another guy. I get it now. I admit it, I lost. I broke up with Ethan. You're the only one I like. Let's be together. Our parents would be so happy. I raised my hand. Stop.
Just stop talking.
If she said one more word, I was going to throw up. She persisted. Leo, I'm serious. Shut up, I snapped. Don't you understand English? I shouted her name, Chloe. The comments floated wildly in the air, every single one tearing her character apart. Her image had completely collapsed. Was this really the same cheerful girl next door I'd once had a crush on? I took a deep breath and said coldly, Chloe, don't you dare say you like me. You never liked me. You just can't stand the fact that your personal doormat grew a spine and walked away. I don't know what happened between you and Ethan, but I know one thing. He never changed. You did. You're picky, indecisive, selfish, and completely lacking in morals. Her eyes reddened as if she couldn't bear the accusations. Leo, how can you say that about me? After all these years? Is that really what you think of me? I laughed coldly. I'm being polite. She looked heartbroken. You were never like this before. You used to do everything I asked. I asked you to bring me breakfast. You did it for 3 years. I asked you to buy me drinks in the scorching sun, and you never complained.
You liked me.
So, why did you change the moment we got to college? Hearing her list my past behavior made me want to go back in time and strangle my former self. Because I was blind before, I shouted. And now I can see. Is that a good enough reason for you? This girl was insane. Her voice filled with resentment.
No.
You just fell for Roxy Vance. You have the nerve to call me fickle when you're the one who moved on. I laughed out of sheer anger.
Fine.
You're right. Everything you say is right. We have nothing left to talk about. Seeing that I was unmoved, she screamed at my back, "What's so great about Roxy Vance? She's just a spoiled rich girl with a bad attitude." I sneered. Roxy isn't just rich. She's beautiful, has an incredible figure. She's sincere, kind, humble, willing to listen, and always trying to improve herself. She has countless good qualities. She's a little naive, sure, but what's wrong with being naive? In that moment, I finally understood it. I liked Roxy. Probably more than just a little. Seeing the softness on my face, Chloe's voice broke. "Leo, you really don't like me anymore." I nodded seriously. "Yeah, I don't. A good relationship makes you happy. A bad one makes you miserable. You were the beginning of my misery. No matter how much I like someone, it's never worth sacrificing my life for them." The color drained from her face. "I don't believe you. I don't. Just wait, I'll win you back. Whatever you say." If she wanted to keep beating a dead horse, that was her choice. 18. The disdain in my eyes must have been too obvious, because Chloe's face finally crumpled. She staggered backward, nearly falling. Before leaving, I gave her one last piece of advice. If you have any sense left, do some serious self-reflection. I packed my things and went home early. My mom asked, "Why are you back so soon?" Because I couldn't stand the thought of seeing Chloe again. I never kept secrets from my parents, so I gave them a brief explanation. They sighed. "We watched that girl grow up. How did she go so wrong?" I smiled. "Who cares? As long as I didn't go off track, that's all that matters." They laughed. Later, my mom came into my room with a mysterious smile and placed a box in my hands. "Go on. Open it." Inside was a brand new laptop. "I told you I didn't need one," I said in shock. According to the comments, this laptop was supposed to mark the start of my tragedy. My mom ruffled my hair. "I got promoted, and your dad got a better paying route. We wanted to reward you." My dad grinned. "You wanted this when you were a freshman, remember? You never asked again, but I never forgot. Are you happy?" Tears welled up in my eyes. "I am. I'm so happy."
Thank you, Mom. Thank you, Dad.
They were the best parents in the world. The truth was, I'd been terrified of the future the comments described. I was an only child, their entire hope. If I had ruined myself over something so trivial, how could I ever face them? That fear was what gave me the strength to change. I wasn't reborn, but I was new, and I was proud of who I'd become. Life isn't just about love. The world is vast and full of possibilities, and I was glad I realized that in time. Epilogue. After graduation, I passed the civil service exam and secured a stable, well-paying job at a major bank. My family was overjoyed. I had changed my fate. Ethan also turned things around. After breaking up with Chloe, he focused on studying. His life ended up close to what the comments predicted. Chloe's ending was the most tragic. She gave up completely, failed too many classes, and didn't even graduate. The biggest surprise was Roxy. She didn't fail a single class, graduated smoothly, and was immediately made VP of her family company. She transferred all their accounts to our bank. My manager kept slapping my back. "You know how to pick a girlfriend." One day, Roxy shyly asked me, "Leo, will you be my boyfriend?" I teased her. "Ethan's a good guy. Are you sure you don't want him?"
No, she panicked.
"I like you." I smiled. "You'd fall for anyone who tutors you." She raised her hand solemnly. "I swear, you're the only one. Can we get married?" "Of course." "And cook for you forever?" "I'll think about it." "Hey." I laughed. "All right. I guess I'll take you." "Really?" "Really. Then, I'm your girlfriend now. And you're mine."